Hi there, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Ashley.
And this is Rehash. On the internet where all news is old news, we're going to bring you the best and worst of what's happening today. This is episode 1 for most people. Patreon's got a special sneak peek of this last week. And I think, Ashley, we need to do 2 quick things, not quite as in-depth as last week. We need to explain the premise of the show, and we need to explain who the hell you are and why you're here. So I'll do the premise of the show, and then I'll defer to you as far as who you are and why people should give a flying flip. As far as the show, I got a lot of stuff going on right now, and as much as I would love to make regular standard videos, I need to find a format where I can come to you, hopefully on a weekly or more than once a week basis, for the foreseeable future. And that's what this is. This is a format where I can engage with you, the audience, the fans, the amazing Anthonites. I think that this is a really cool thing that I can do and produce regularly, again, if I have help. So with that being the case, and because I have super segue powers, my help will be provided by Ms. Ashley. Ms. Ashley, tell the people out there a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, some of the Anthonites might have bumped into me on the interwebs previously. We worked together for a pretty large YouTube network in the past, and we're pretty good at keeping each other on tap and on point with things then. So when casually we started talking about the idea of a podcast, it made sense. This is something we could do together. I can help you out in a sort of producer way. I don't know if we want to put an official title on that or not, but
you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's give you that title right now. You're since you said producer type way, we're gonna call you my producer type person. How about that?
All right.
And that
cool.
gives me room
Titles.
where I can then later give you a promotion to actual producer. Since right now I'm not paying you anything.
Yeah.
Because I am a broke person, and broke people can't pay things like bills.
You know what? The conversations themselves are the payment, really.
Now you do realize I now have audio proof that you said that, and I will use that against you in future contract negotiations.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. So I kind of explained what this is, but really without experiencing it, it's going to be really, really hard for people to understand what this is. So that's why I say let's get somewhat into it. I was going to say let's jump right into it, but that's a Philly D thing, and I'm not looking to rip him off like that. So essentially, let's talk about...
It's not ripping off. It's just being inspired by...
Let's talk about the world, the universe, and what happens to matter to me today. Okay, so can I have the first one? I want to talk about this thing I found.
Yes.
Okay, so I was on this little bitty website that no one's ever heard of called Reddit. And
Reddit.
Yeah, maybe it's pronounced Reddit. I don't know.
Readed?
Yeah.
Readed.
So Reddit is it's basically a forum, but it does all kinds of things. Anyway, blah blah blah, doesn't matter. There's a link in the description or wherever the heck you find links in wherever you have found this particular video or audio thingy.
Description or information box.
Yeah.
Probably below. Probably.
So essentially the story type thingy is what is it that makes it when we're exhausted, suddenly everything becomes so much funnier? Does it have to do with, lack of sleep, brain function, blah, 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 blah. And this was in a thread on a subreddit or subforum, if you will, if you're not familiar with Reddit, called Explain Like I'm 5, which is one of my favorite places to go just to see the interesting answers to questions that, it seems to be one of those things that, when we're all in the shower or mowing the grass, we have these thoughts or these, things that we wonder about, we never follow up on. But Explain Like I'm 5 is a great place to get answers to questions that you probably never would have thought to seriously ask. And so, I'm not going to read this entire thread to anyone. because that is a lot of words and whatnot. So
and sentences.
Words and sentences and punctuation. Oh my goodness, the punctuation. So what I'm going to do is, for those of you watching on YouTube or some other video-enabled platform, I'm going to pull my browser over there, and I'm going to take the loading screen off. There we go. So this is a thread, and it kind of goes through a few things, a few interesting points that I very much wanted to go through. One of which being that essentially comedy, there are a few things that comedy is based off of, right? Tragedy plus time equals comedy is one of them, but another formula is essentially subverting people's expectations.
Yeah.
And when you are it's so tired you can barely function, pretty much anything can subvert your expectations.
Yeah.
That's, especially the whole group of people who think that random equals funny, that definitely gets augmented at about, after midnight or so. Between that and then also another person brings up some really interesting stuff way further down, talking about how dopamine plays a role as well. Here we go. So dopamine receptors are more sensitive when you're tired. And that's one of the reasons why people love to giggle and laugh and whatnot when they're tired, because essentially the chemical that your body, well, one of many chemicals your body releases when it's having a good time, dopamine, essentially they're like, yes, give me that juicy laughter, give it to me. And so yeah. Now my question to you, Ms. Ashley, is
okay.
My question to you is this: if that's true, if dopamine receptors are more, what's the word I'm looking for, receptive when you're stupidly tired, does that mean that people do other super enjoyable things when they're tired, taking like drugs off the table, right? Does that mean that people like popping bubble wrap when they're stupidly tired?
Probably.
Does that mean that people like to go hang gliding when they're super tired? That'll keep you awake at the very least.
Probably not. Not recommended, at least.
Can you think of anything super something you really, really enjoy that you would not want to do after 3 a.m. to get that extra hit of dopamine?
Honestly, I watch a lot of stand late at night.
Sorry,
so this makes a lot of sense to me.
You watch a lot of
really?
What?
Stand-up comedy.
Ah, okay.
And it just really feeds that dopamine rush. You start to laugh and then you just can't stop. It doesn't even matter if they had a good act or not. You just can't help it. So it's the best time to listen to comedians, especially ones you kind of put on your back burner, oh, I heard this person's funny, but I've never watched them before. That's a great time. 2 a.m., you're like, oh yeah, I should check this person out finally. And you'll think they're hilarious. And then 3 days later, during your lunch hour, you're going to go find another skit they did. And you're going to be like, wait, what? Because it's not as funny during the day.
I gotcha. Let me go ahead and kick back to the Rehash logo. Actually, you know what? Ashley, you were giving me heck about the Rehash logo page before the show started.
Yeah.
And I feel like people have been robbed.
Yeah.
Please tell the audience what you're giving me heck about with our logos.
I need everyone that is able to watch, just imagine that Anthony's icon and name are where mine are, and that mine are where his are. Because he should be first, shouldn't he? If there's a comment section, which on YouTube obviously there is, just do hashtag Anthony should be first with your comment to tell me you're supporting me on this.
No. See, now that you started a hashtag, we need to do hashtag Ashley did nothing wrong. Because she has helped out a lot with putting this podcast together. And yeah, speaking of Ashley helping out, we need to talk about loud farts. Okay, so for those of you listening after 3 a.m., you can stop laughing, you can stop giggling. Ashley, okay, so this one doesn't, like, it's not a super long story, all right?
It's not.
But in Clay County, Missouri, there was someone who was being sooked. Is it sooked? Seeken? He was
Sodded.
He was soughteth. He was soughteth aftereth by the police. And
Yeah, he had a warrant.
yeah, and so they were
Possession charge, yeah.
they were seeking him out. They were, and he, for as far as anyone could tell, was probably going to be, not found until the officers heard a loud, obnoxious fart.
Yeah.
And it gave Go ahead.
The part I love is, and I'm trying to confirm really quick. But they brought a dog, a canine, right?
Yep.
To track down scents. It is not the scent of the fart that got this man caught. It was the actual noise of it. That's the part that gets me.
I have never in my life prayed for a silent but deadly as much as this man must have been praying.
Well, no, that would have been bad too, though, because of the dog. But
even that, maybe his farts didn't smell like him. Maybe that would have even thrown the dog off the trail.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I have seen the way my own dogs react when they themselves fart.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Look, all I'm saying is that
don't eat beans before you go hide.
And you should definitely check out this full story, which I am not going to share the full thing on screen or here, but it's definitely something that'll give you a chuckle, and maybe you could share with your friends and all that stuff.
If I could share something I found, this would be a good time, I think.
You know what, Ashley? Yeah, let's share something that you found. Let's share something that you contributed. You know why? Because you're a big part of this, and I value you, and you're awesome. And everyone in the comment section needs to be like, Ashley, you're amazing.
Yes, flattery gets you everywhere. That's the moral, right?
Yes. So, Ms. Ashley.
Okay, so there's
what'd you find?
Yes, I'm starting. There's this guy in Florida who had these, he might still have them for all I know, but these prosthetic feet things that were three-toed put on his feet for apparently about a decade. On a regular basis, he went around to different Florida beaches and walked on them with these on and made people believe there was a 15-foot tall penguin roaming around these beaches. And the whole hoax of it wasn't revealed until 40 years later.
Wow.
And I can only imagine, first of all, seeing the footprints. Those footprints would have scared me.
So I wouldn't have even thought of a penguin. I'm showing people on screen now what these things looked like. I would have thought velociraptor.
Yeah. Well, if you see the prosthetics, then you think more dinosaur. But I think if you saw those prints in the sand and you're thinking what would be near the beach, you might come to penguin faster. But what I really want to know, though, is did people someone had to have seen him do this at some point. If he did it for a decade, someone had to have seen him. And did they see him but just be okay, it's Florida, it's just another weird guy, and just didn't tell anyone? Or did people know but they didn't want to spoil his fun of thinking that he was fooling everyone and making them paranoid?
That could very well be.
Yeah. But apparently the jig is up finally.
No.
He can retire his prosthetic dinosaur feet.
So now that we're this far in, so we were talking about our wonderful sponsors before the show.
We were.
And you have set up some things here And I need to say thank you. Thank you so much for doing all of this and being awesome
You're very
and
welcome.
whatnot. So today's sponsors for this podcast, we have two of them. The first and foremost is TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy is an amazing browser extension that if you're a creator yourself on YouTube, or if you do other things on other platforms like Facebook and etc., this plugin, or no, it's a browser plugin, but it's so much more than that. It helps you track your views, your growth. It helps you with tag suggestions and ideas. It helps you devise thumbnails. It helps you plot out and plan videos. It helps you work with a team on your channel/videos. It allows you to extend, like, basically all the things that take you all the time in the world. It helps make that so much quicker. It's kind of like hiring a channel manager, but not. And yeah, so it's amazing. Check it out. I've used it for years. And disclaimer, I when the company was kind of just starting, I did help them out a little bit here and there. So I don't work for them currently, and I don't really think I worked for them then, but I do have some history with the company, which should tell you...
You've worked with them.
Yeah.
You can work with a company without working for them.
Exactly.
For sure.
But full disclosure, I just wanted everybody to know that. And with that being the case, that should tell you two things. A, I'm being honest and trying to show you my bias. And B, that I super believe in them.
Yeah.
Ms. Ashley, what's the special link that you created for that?
It is tubebuddy.storyvlog.com.
Woo! Wow, that's amazing, because originally, like, their link was something like tubebuddy.com/whatever, blah 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 blah, and you just shortened that up to just make it tubebuddy.storyvlog.com. So thank you for that.
No problem.
And then the next one, this is actually the same sponsor as last week. This is actually going to be Amazon with a twist. So for those of you who don't know, in my spare time when I'm not working a full-time job or doing YouTube-y internet thingies, I give Uber and Lyft rides. And with that being the case, I have a lot of suggestions for things that you may need if you, A, do ride sharing, like, Uber or Lyft, whatever the case may be, or B, if you share your vehicle with other people. So, if in the description commenty or description/info boxy place, you should find a link. That's going to be rideshare. Oh, no, wait. You know what? You tell us the link, because you're the one who created it, because you deserve all the credit. What is it?
Rideshare.storyvlog.com.
Rideshare.storyvlog.com takes you to a very specific list that I have created. And that list will take you to a page full of things that you can use if you share your vehicle with other people. If you do Uber or Lyft rides or whatever the case may be. Everything in there, from signs to hats to shirts to like little baby onesies I found. Bags to put snacks and drinks in, stuff to remind people to leave you 5 stars. Stuff, regardless of whether you do the Uber Lyft thing or the I'm a mom, I'm a dad thing, some of this stuff is going to be super useful to you. Like little hooks to go on the back of headrests, like entire like caddies that hold iPads or whatever someone puts there, or a thermos, or whatever the case is, charging stations, a US, like things to make USB device charging so much easier, cables you're never going to lose in a dark car because they have LEDs in the cable. One thing that I got because I was doing the rideshare thing, which I absolutely think everyone should have, which is a dash cam. All of that stuff, including also there's a trash can that goes on the back of your seat for people in the back seat. It's great for kids. It's great for adults who act like kids. I just think a lot of this stuff is very useful to a lot of people. So if you
kids who act like adults,
or kids who act like adults, yes, because they are the ones who would actually use the trash can.
Yes.
So, with that being the case, if any of that sounds of any interest to you, go over to rideshare.storyvlog.com, which Ashley set up very quickly before this podcast. Thank you again, Ashley.
You're welcome.
All right. And now that we have gone and we have talked about funny things after 3 a.m., we've talked about loud farts, we've talked about guys who just want to watch the world burn. Now I think we should segue, because he's all like, I'm going to confuse the world. So,
yeah.
He didn't do it for any real reason. But he was just like, you know what? I want to mess with people.
Yeah. He definitely was messing with people.
The penguin guy, it just wants to watch the world burn.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next things next. Let's talk about Ashley, this one's yours. Let's talk about this one. You want to kick this one off?
Are you talking about the 20,000-pound tank of chocolate that a man fell into?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
this actually kind of fits the theme so far of this episode, because if you actually visit the link in the description or info box, there's a video on this article.
I am not going to be playing the video on the YouTube side.
Don't play it now. But in the video, you learn the dude had like a great sense of humor about the situation, which just makes it even more entertaining. But basically, a guy worked at this what is it? It's like
a Simply Natural.
A candy. It's like, is it Simply Natural?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Nice. I was just going to say Candy Factory, but yeah, there you go. Simply Natural.
I mean, there's a giant logo on the screen right now for our YouTube viewers. So.
Okay, there you go.
not like I can't, I can't be like, we're not going to plug the company. It's right there.
Yeah. He was just trying to add something into the chocolate mix, and he fell into the whole thing, which I can't even imagine how terrifying that would be.
And the killer about it is, so this happened in New York, and with that being the case, like this isn't even the time of year where you want to fall into a vat of chocolate. Look, in the winter time, there have been times where I have said, you know what, this this little cup of hot chocolate, I wish I could just take a bath in it. But this is, it's outside, it's super hot, it's super sticky. This is, look, nobody, well, I don't want to say nobody. You know what? Now that I think about it, I can't think of too many people who, when given the opportunity, wouldn't take a bath in chocolate.
Right. This is different than a bath, though. It has, like, the things that move.
It's a surprise bath! Okay, fine. So, no, you're right. It's not similar to a bath. It's more like being stuck in a washing machine full of
chocolate, yes.
I still see no issues. Now, of course, no one was seriously injured, and I am fairly certain
he did hurt his arm, but
like when I say like nobody died.
Yeah.
And like you said, dude seemed to have a decent sense of humor about it, and so like in our making fun, this is very much, it's our attempt to laugh with, not at.
Yeah.
Of course, it's really hard to feel sorry for anyone who has ever in their life been surrounded by delicious chocolate.
Yeah.
All right.
And he got to be sprayed off with like a garden hose by the emergency.
Wait a minute. He got to be?
Yes.
I have.
That's
like, look, we're not 5 running through a sprinkler, okay? All right. I don't think that was like the highlight of it. The highlight of his day was probably realizing that he would be able to tell this story till the day he died. I don't think highlight of his story was going, I got to play in the hose.
I just think it's great that that's what they did. They just like sprayed him off.
Like, is this the kind of thing where after it happens, they give you the rest of the day off? Like,
I would hope you'd get at least like that day and the next day.
Well, okay.
Also, did they scrap that whole batch or not?
I'm sure they did. Otherwise, now if you happen to be eating Simply Natural and you're like, this tastes kind of like a 37-year-old man. Then you know they didn't clean the batch.
Let's hope that one just got scrapped.
All right.
Hey, you know what, Anthony?
What's up?
Do you know what somebody who was like fully engulfed in chocolate, what they might need after that?
No, Ashley. Oh, wait a minute. This is a trick. They would probably need some form of diet plan. Are you about to like spring another sponsor on us?
No.
Okay. They would probably need some form of wait a minute. Are you trying to sell hoses now? They need more hoses. Coming to you directly, this is hoses.com. No.
That's probably a real thing. You would obviously eat the chocolate. You would eat some of that chocolate.
Look,
like, why wouldn't
if
you?
I'm going to go
Right?
full Augustus Gloop, you're darn right I am drinking from my own chocolate bath, okay?
And
Because
what
especially since I know that if if my body falls in the chocolate, I know I'm the only one who's ever going to eat that again. So
Yeah.
before I get out, I am going to just like slurp up some just to say that I did it, and so that I can be like, I took a chocolate bath and I ate it.
Okay.
So I think I know where you're going
what would
with
you
this.
really need after that? You would really need
I would
a good
dental
cleaning. Yeah, you would.
Okay. So I see where you're going with this. So here's the thing. A lot of my listeners and my viewers and whatnot live in and around the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being the case, I wanted to let them know that there is someone in Manila offering free dental services. Link in the description and or the box that is on screen now if you're watching on YouTube for a little bit more information. So yeah, I think you should probably, maybe make a call on that. And actually, there is an edit that wasn't here when we first selected this story. The guy saying that he wasn't expecting that kind of reception, and he was going to take some more time to take replies. So if you want or need free dental services, live in and around Manila, Philippines, be sure to take this guy up on his offer. But be polite, don't be demanding, be awesome. All right. Let's see here. You know what, Ashley? Since we're talking about self-care,
Okay.
I know of an animal who takes really weird self-care of themselves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Besides you.
Besides me, definitely. The kind of care I take of myself isn't really, I don't think you could call it taking care.
Okay.
So, I am, of course, talking about the hairy frog. The hairy frog, a.k.a. Trichobroxurus something or other, robustus, also known as the horror frog, or the Wolverine frog.
Wolverine frog.
Yeah. So, this frog routinely breaks its own bones so that those bones stick through his skin, and it makes him look hairy. This is the only animal in the animal kingdom that has this particular use. Now, for those of you watching on YouTube, I'm about to show you this thing. It's not super scary unless you just happen to be scared of frogs. And if you're scared of frogs, first off, warning. Second off, trigger warning. Third off, ribbit. Okay. So... this is the hairy frog. I am showing you two pictures on screen now. One over here. This is on the Wikipedia page because I thought that it was a much better source of information than where I actually found this from.
Yeah.
This is a threatened frog, which is probably why it has lots of bony spikes sticking out of it. It's like, no, I'm threatened. Because, because defensive, threatened, never mind. Anyway, anyways, this is a really interesting adaptation in this frog. And like I said, I mean, it's the only thing in the animal kingdom that we know of that does this. So, yeah.
So weird.
Yeah, it is. All right, that's really all on that one. It's not really a big thing. It's just something weird, and I wanted to show that to
It
the
is.
world.
It's weird and it's interesting, and I do think people should know about it because it is kind of cool.
Now, so in my attempt to make good segues,
Mhm.
it disturbs me that those bones have ripped through that frog's skin. Some may even say that they've torn through his skin. So that maybe, possibly, it may rip and or torn other people. Now, with that segue, let's talk about Rip Torn. That was a horrible segue.
It was.
Rip Torn
Good try.
died at age 88. And
Which is a good age. My favorite number is 8. I just have to say this right away. Like 88 isn't a bad age, like, to live to.
so let me get this straight, Ashley. Dude just died, and you're gonna make this all about you?
Yes.
I kid, I laugh. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh no, that was pretty much it.
See, now they're gonna think that I hate you. No. All right. So yeah, Rip Torn, a great guy. If he kind of looks like you might maybe recognize this guy from something
You
somewhere.
better recognize.
I would hope. This guy has been in just about everything. He's been in Men in Black. He's been in Dodgeball. Freddy Got Fingered. 40 Shades of Blue. Wait a minute. We're going to come back to that. Felix the Cat. He played LBJ in J. Edgar Hoover, the movie. Now,
Yeah, that was a good role.
2 notes about that. 1, 50 Shades of Blue. I had no idea this was a thing. I need to check it
Yeah.
out, and I need to see if it
Never heard of
compares
it.
with 50 Shades of Grey, because it's an additional 10 shades, and it's a different color. I don't know. The next thing is about, I don't know, a couple of years ago. Did you ever watch that show, Adam Ruins Everything?
Yes.
He had a bit where he was talking about presidents past, and somebody during that said LBJ instead of LBJ for Lyndon
Yeah.
Baines Johnson.
Yeah.
And ever since then, every time I read LBJ, I want to say it the same way. It's like LBJ. Da-dum.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's something wrong with me. I'm aware.
We all know. And we accept you regardless.
Thank you for your acceptance and your love. All right. I am gonna mute.
In all seriousness, though, man, Rip Torn, what a I can't even sum it up. Like, I have loved his performances and pretty much everything he's done. And until you put this in our list, I didn't realize he had passed away, and I had to take a second. It's like, wow, just somebody you've seen on screen so much. And yeah. So, a moment of silence for the great Rip Torn and all that.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect. Oh, I forgot the moment of silence. Wait a minute.
It's okay.
We'll have
We
an
don't
off.
do that around here, okay?
We'll have an off mic moment of silence.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, I love the guy. I loved him in Dodgeball. I loved him in Men in Black. And similar to you, there were things I didn't realize he had done. He was an uncredited cast member on Felix the Cat. I had no idea, but
Yeah.
he's an old dude. We should respect our elders, and that's our segue into our next story.
Yeah. Respect your elders. My goodness.
So, let's see here. I am going to go ahead and pop this in here. There's Ms. Joy Watson. She is a woman with dementia. She was wearing a pin or a sticker or whatever that said like, "Yo, I got dementia. Be patient."
Yeah.
And some dude like went and whacked her in the face. Like, when I say whacked her in the face, I mean he full on punched her. It broke her eye socket. That's not cool, bro. Like, look, I am not the guy to make threats. I am not the guy who gets physically violent. But I don't care if my mother, like if this were my mother, I don't care if she has dementia or not. If you punch my mom in the face, I will find you. I will hunt you down, and I will use my particular set of skills, which is making YouTube videos, and this makes no sense, to end you.
Yeah, not cool.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and be what did we say earlier? I am gonna be inspired by Philip DeFranco. I'm gonna make the dude who did this our douchebag of the day, or technically week, because this show doesn't come out that often.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, that's not cool. Not cool at all.
I think he was like abusing an animal around her, and that was what kind of instigated that too.
So either that, or it could be the dementia playing into it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the fact that he hauled off and socked her in the face kind of lends credence to maybe he was doing something he wasn't supposed. Same kind of individual you could see doing those two things. And the thing that really cheesed me off, really cheesed me off, was the fact that he left without even knowing if she was alive or not. He just socked her in the face and walked off.
Definitely the douchebag of the week.
Yeah.
We're about to get into things we really like talking about.
You promise?
I promise.
Okay, alright. You know what? I didn't open up all the news stories, did I?
Oh boy.
Oh, I definitely did not.
Okay.
I still have things to open in my browser. Okay. Can you segue us into that while I, actually get prepared for the thing that I was supposed to be prepared for like 30 minutes ago?
It's either the app we're using to talk or my internet that was storming earlier or something. Because there's I hope I wasn't roboting this whole time or something, but
I mean, you've been a little bit robotic today, but that's fine. I finally got my stuff sorted out, but before we go any further, there are two things that I need to do. Number the first, I need to segue out to our sponsors because they make this show possible. And when I say sponsors, of course, I'm talking about the amazing TubeBuddy. I'm talking about the Amazon link that we've set up specifically to take you to ride-sharing stuffs. But I'm also talking about the other thing, which is our amazing Patreon. Zzz. I would like it to be zzz, but right now I have one Patreon. So shout out to Michael Scheisel, who has been supporting me on Patreon for, gosh, it's a little bit over a year now. Thank you so much.
Nice.
Your support has allowed me to do lots of little things. And it's essentially, like, I kind of hate to say this, a lot of times the main reason why I'm like, man, I need to make videos is because I feel like I seriously owe Michael because of his support. So thank you to Michael and anyone else who helps make this show possible through visiting affiliate links and so on. So we're not going to be talking about TubeBuddy right now. We're not going to be talking about Amazon right now. We're just talking about Patreon supporters. Thank you so much. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, link in the description or showboxy place or end card or wherever. I hope that you find it.
Or
you get all kinds of amazing stuff. Like, for instance, some of my top tier Patreon-y people got a very exclusive video that I made for a past job interviewee thing. They also have access to go back and watch my wedding from my now ex-wife. They have the ability to go back and watch all kinds of things that aren't on the interwebs publicly available anymore. They have all kinds of, I don't do a whole butt ton of like extra content, but all of the sort of behind the scenes extra stuff they get.
Like our pilot episode.
Hey, there's a good segue.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said that we needed to stop and do two things. What was the second thing?
I don't know.
I forgot. And we're back from a break you didn't even know we took. Okay, so
Beautiful thing about editing, though.
yay! Let's talk about the next story. Just like you said, this next couple of stories kind of makes me happy. Happy,
Yes.
happy in my face, happy in my brain, maybe happy in my pants.
Wow. Speaking of edits.
So let's talk about this. 450 elected officials from 40 states across the U.S. have declared a climate change crisis. Have declared climate change crisis as an emergency. They've called for a national plan to phase out fossil fuels. Ms. Ashley, I'm the dude with the opinions on green stuff. What are before we get into my musings? What do you have to say about this? What's going on in your brain place?
The first word that comes to mind is that this was expected to me. I kind of saw this coming. That's a very neutral response, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's me. If y'all didn't know, I'm quite neutral. But I don't know. I was a little surprised to see like a declaration of it being an emergency. But I'm definitely interested to see what happens, and I don't know.
Like
I don't know.
My sort of thoughts on it and the notes that I put down are, call it whatever the heck you want, whether it be quotey fingers, a Green New Deal, or just simply responsibly cleaning up the mess that we have made as a species. It's kind of nice to see some elected officials stepping forward to do something about this, right? Like,
yeah,
my hope, my dream is that we would stop subsidizing fossil fuels to the extent that we do, and that's kind of where I want to leave that. Unless you have something else to say.
The only other thing I thought about was actually last week in our pilot episode that people didn't hear.
Unless they're a Patreon.
Yes. I mentioned how, like, in history, problems would arise and we would fix them, like, as a society fairly easily. It was a little bit more simple.
Oh yeah, like
and I said, what happened to that? So I like seeing that you found something this week that kind of goes, oh, look, that does still happen.
So some of the examples that we had last week were when we switched to unleaded fuel because lead floating around in the air, not a great thing. When we all came together internationally to ban CFCs, or chlorofluorocarbons, which are the chemicals that eat ozone. Those were really great times, and maybe we can get back, together and start working across the aisle, and maybe actually do something about this before we all burn to a crisp or whatever. I don't know. Like I know that is sort of like doom and gloom, and maybe even comically blown out of proportion.
I mean, you would think with how easy it is for basically the entire world to talk to each other now because of social media, that you would see more change happening. But actually, because of social media, honestly, like, the government is almost more careful about the decisions it makes based on the talk that it's seeing and the tweets that are out there and the Instagram posts and the Reddit threads, and you have to take it all with a grain of salt.
But Ashley,
they
you're forgetting one thing. Not only does it made it easier for us to communicate, it's made it easier for us to fight.
Yes, and complain, and there's a lot of pros and cons to the way social media is, but I'm hoping that this is a sign that the things that are important will get the attention that they should.
Remember just a few moments ago when I said that my personal hope is that we would stop subsidizing fossil fuel costs to the extent that we do?
Yes.
So that's my segue into the next thing, the next article that I want to talk about, the U.S., and this article actually isn't even a new thing. If memory serves, this was something that was actually I found from May 8th of this year. So I guess it's still kind of new, but like not brand new.
It's more spring than summer, but yeah.
So U.S. fossil fuel subsidies. That's now just to be clear about what a subsidy is. That's the money we give to companies to bring down the cost that they pass on to the consumer.
Right.
The money that the U.S. government essentially gives as some would call it corporate welfare to companies for fossil fuel related things exceeds what we spend on the Pentagon and on our military. The benefits of that mean that, we pay less at the pump, we pay less for our the fuel we use in our grills and things like that.
Right.
But essentially that also means that in a very inefficient way, we are spending that money. And here's what I mean by that. So we are taxed. Everyone is taxed, as you would assume the same amount or whatever. And then this money goes to essentially those who use fossil fuel the most. Now, Ms. Ashley, so taking out, considering oil companies, who probably uses the most fossil fuels? Like who benefits from those tax subsidies the most on the consumer end?
On the consumer end?
Yeah. Like, do you think it's like, John Doe sitting on his farm, or do you think that it's some larger company who burns 1,000 more times than he will every year?
I mean, I think of the automotive industry overall and like delivery companies, maybe truck drivers, public transportation even.
Okay.
Those are the first few things that came to mind, I guess.
Fair enough. And you know what? You're not far off. Essentially, it is commerce that this benefits.
Commerce, yeah.
And
I was looking for that word. I swear. I was looking for it. It wasn't happening. You just pulled it right out of my mouth.
So, and I'm not saying commerce good, commerce bad. I am simply saying that, the money essentially funneling through taxes into companies in order to reduce the price of a good or service, probably not as efficient with those funds as could possibly be. That's a lot of middle managers. So the U.S. as a country, we spend more on defense and military spending than the next 8 countries below us combined.
Oof.
But we spend more on simply making oil cheaper. Oil and other various fossil fuels.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I'm not saying that we only spend $600 billion with a B on oil as a country. We spend far more than that in total. I am, however, saying that our government gives $600 billion with a B to private companies in the form of subsidies in order to obscure the high price of fossil fuels to the end customer. So essentially, the customer doesn't always see the fact that they're paying for this more than once. We're paying for natural gas, oil, etc., and sometimes even up to 3 times through federal tax, the purchase itself, and again, sometimes outside the scope of this on the state level with their taxes and incentives. I hear anti-EV and anti-solar and anti-green energy people all the time talk about green energy subsidies. The vibe I get is the fact that most people have no idea that these kind of subsidies are going on.
Yeah.
So just food for thought.
People probably don't. But I know there's programs like literally called fuel assistance for most like in your local area. There might be a fuel assistance program if you live somewhere where you have cold winters, especially. And all of that funding that goes to help people stay warm and not freeze to has to come from somewhere. And here we learn where that somewhere is.
Yep.
And it definitely adds up.
All right. So let's go to the next story, which I don't really have a great segue for, except yeah, I don't have one. So the U.S. For those of you playing at home, that's the United States. Now has over 20,000 electric car charging stations with more than 68,800 connectors. Meaning, there are 20,000 individual places where you can go to charge your car. And in those places, there are often multiple different places you can actually plug up. Kind of like a gas station. You know, if I told you that there were 20,000 gas stations and 68,000 pumps, similar, like that's kind of the what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So this actually,
are you familiar with these stations personally?
I am. I've actually been to a few of them. I do not.
So is it similar to a gas station?
Similar, yeah. Except for usually they have restaurants in the same parking lot or malls. Many times they are within walking distance of something to do while your car charges. And the fact that you're really only there for often 20 to 30 minutes, it gives you a chance to spread your legs, Oh, no. Stretch your legs. Spreading your legs means something else.
I didn't even catch it until you started commenting about what you said.
Moving on. So essentially it would be kind of like, rather than what you do now, right? Which is you go to the gas station and you fill up, and that's the only thing you're doing. With the way that the EV landscape currently works, you either you top off at home because your car is parked for, a good portion of the day or night. And then really you only, like in the EV world, you only ever go to a supercharger or a charger when you have to, because you're making a longer than normal trip. Or if you're an apartment dweller and there's no plug available to you. Many of the gyms around me actually have free charging, and that's the way that they get you in. They're like, oh yeah, while you're here working out, you can go ahead and you can charge your car.
That's a great idea.
And a lot of these are starting to pop up at things like state parks and things like that, places people spend time. So a lot of people think that they are going to end up giving up time in order to charge an EV, but the truth of the matter is the charging stations are showing up in places where you're gonna be parked for an hour or more anyways. In reality, what you end up gaining back is a lot of the time that you normally would spend either fueling your car, worrying about fueling your car, trying to figure out where the cheapest gas is, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, no, I do not own an EV, but it is a passion of mine. It's something that I hope I hope that, to get the word out there of, this amazing leap forward in technology. I mean, when it comes to internal combustion engine cars, or as some people just think of them as gas cars, the root of that technology hasn't changed in 80, 90 years. It's the same it was then. Now, yes, it's, slight refinements over time, but essentially it's the same thing. And
I do. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go for it.
I do think that the charging stations like that, just becoming more common, will help people even just think about it more. Someone might see one of those stations and be like, wait, what is that? And then that opens up a discussion. That opens them up to opening up Google or saying, hey, Siri, what is a charging station? And getting information, information is everything. And a lot of people, like, I don't know, these conversations don't happen enough in people's day-to-day lives. And while I'm not really super for or super against electric cars, I know from conversations I've had with people that the idea of having to plug in your car seems like a huge nuisance to a lot of people. And something like you said with the gym really just set off a light bulb in my head. If it's free, especially, why not? You want to get into a workout routine, you would go to one that you could also charge your car at. It's charging while you're working out. That's so many good things happening all at once. Like, why wouldn't you want that?
Yeah. Okay. So you know what, Ashley,
Mm-hmm.
I think we should be done talking about EVs this week, because
Okay.
otherwise, if I don't cut myself off here, we are going to talk about EVs until the cows come home.
I was honestly worried that if I was going to add to that, that it would just make you add to it again. And then we would just be here forever. Just forever. So
Okay.
I'm glad.
So now the next article is actually something you brought to the table.
Oh,
Would you mind just dive into this one, and I will be your backup.
okay. So I was scrolling through Reddit as people do, despite the fact that Anthony mentioned nobody knows what Reddit is. It, everyone's on Reddit. If you're not, you should be. Um, I was scrolling through, and that explained like I'm five section really, really captivates me. I just love the discussions that go on there. And I saw this one. I don't know if Anthony's showing it to you
I
or not.
am indeed.
Okay. Where this person asks, how does the body become sensitized to certain chemicals, whereby the chemical now becomes a serious allergy when it would not have been an allergy in the past? So essentially, we're talking about adult onset allergies or sensitivities. And I, first of all, I relate so much to this topic, to the conversations in the threads below it. Some of the replies just really fascinated me. Like one person mentioning how antacids change the way your body responds to or processes the foods you eat, even if you're just. A lot of people are used to eating like one or two Tums throughout the day because of general heartburn. And when you're eating and putting those in your body, some of the things, even though you've eaten it your whole life, your body changes how it responds because of the other things you're putting into your body. And those kind of things just sneak up on people. And you start to go, well, how come all of a sudden I can't eat corn? You're like, who the heck would be sensitive to corn? But it's in more things than you realize. I'm sort of derailing, I'm sorry. But it's in more things than you realize. And if you're taking like Benadryl once in a while for mosquito bites, whatever it is, or you're taking an acid, whatever it may be, you don't realize it, but you're affecting the way the chemistry of your digestive system works. There was the antacid thing. I mean, personally, I could read discussions about allergies for days, probably, and not get bored. Or even tell you stories. Like, I have a friend who got electrocuted while working on a roof, and after he was electrocuted, he suddenly was allergic specifically to the phenylalanine in diet sodas and aerosol deodorant. And just the body freaks out when things happen to it. And it's a little bit fascinating. But yeah, basically, this person in the Reddit thread, to get back to it, was reading up on henna tattoos and talking about how people become allergic to the dye in those kinds of tattoos. And you could have gotten a couple of them before, but then the third one you get, you just swell right up or something, or it's a lot itchier than it was before. And I know from experience, if you don't know, I personally have almost 24 tattoos. And not just henna, any tattoo ink people can become sensitive to or just are. And I don't know, the body just reacts in interesting ways to what we do to it.
Here's a question I have for you. And I understand that you're not a doctor of tattoos. You're not a tattooologist. Is it
Mhm.
possible for you to get a tattoo and then your body is fine, but one day you just have an allergic reaction for a tattoo that you've had for years?
Uh, okay, I don't know specifically about that, but I do know one of my very first tattoos that I got, I didn't know at the time that people could be sensitive to different inks. So it was quite raised and almost felt like braille on my arm as it was healing, and I figured that was normal because this was my first professional one. And then I found out later that it shouldn't have been like that. And even now, this is a good, oh geez. Yeah, I got it a long time ago. Let's just say that. Um, and it still kind of feels like braille on my arm
So could
occasionally.
it be that that's extra scar tissue from them pushing really hard or something?
No, I don't think so. They use and there's different size needles. And this one had a lot of like shading where they use a smaller needle for that. And it didn't hurt that much either. So I don't think they were really drilling it in hard.
Gotcha.
But and I have had it happen too, if you know the term pick and poke tattoos.
Oh
Some
yeah.
people call that the jailhouse tats or whatever. But pick and poke, I have had some of those kind of be a little raised as well. And it's like during allergy season or something, or maybe even I have a cold, a little bit of a sniffle, and I'll kind of notice that some of my tattoos, the ink is just a little raised, and I don't know if it's a certain type of ink or because my body's just still mad at me that I put it through that, or, or what it is.
I think this is super interesting. Like, of course, I've heard of people becoming like, allergic to things, just sort of seemingly at random. A lot of people, in the thread, they talk about like lactose intolerance. And
Isn't an allergy, but yes.
which isn't, but like, so that actually makes it even more interesting because like it's essentially, like human bodies are really not supposed to be able to produce or process, animal milk at all.
Yeah.
It's just something
we are not cows, in fact.
Yeah, it's just something that we have kind of like hacked into existence, and occasionally our bodies kind of freak out a little bit. So but there are other examples of things that just randomly, like one day you wake up and you're like, I'm done with shellfish now, I guess. So it's kind of cool to see a lot of input and a lot of different what's the word I'm looking for? Like a lot of different reasons, a lot of different ways that can happen. It's super interesting. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm cool with
Everyone has a little bit of a different like perspective, and some people are also touchier and more sensitive when you bring up allergies and things like that too. Not to get too personal, but I am currently on a kind of super gigantic journey personally with trying to figure out some allergies. So this really just caught my interest. And for those listening on YouTube, if you want to open up about any allergy stories and stuff in the comments, I will probably personally reply to you and have a discussion. Any adult onset, especially, like you ate pork your whole life and then suddenly you couldn't. That's my dog Tyson, by the way. We haven't introduced Tyson yet.
Yep.
He's making a little noise in the background.
You are there with Tyson, and I am here with Peanut. We have both brought our dogs to work today.
Yes.
Peanut is just a little lump who sleeps at the foot of my bed, and he doesn't really do or say much.
And Tyson is a large lump that sleeps on my entire bed behind me.
All right. Yeah. So now, with all of that out of the way, Ms. Ashley, I want to play a game.
A game?
I want to play a game.
I love games. I'm a gamer.
It's something like Two Truths and a Lie.
Something like
Two Truths and a Lie.
All right.
So,
I'm listening.
Here are the rules of the game. I am going to give you three news article like headlines. And I want you to tell me which one is the fake one.
Okay.
Okay? So, a couple of rules. You can't Google it. You can't,
Okay.
if I hear typing, you've immediately lost the game.
Okay.
So this is I just want your emotional reaction from which one you think is fake.
Okay.
And don't say, "Ooh, I think it's that one," as soon as I say the title. I want you to just wait until they're all read, and then you get to choose. President Donald Trump can't block critics from his Twitter account, says appeals court rule. Number 2.
Okay.
Wow, my phone hates me. I am such a professional now. Okay, muting the phone. There we go. All right. Number 2. The Saudis are vexed at low ranking on Press Freedom Index after Khashoggi murder. Number 3. The Russian Orthodox Church considers a ban on blessing weapons of mass destruction. So, Ms. Ashley, which one is the fake one? Which one do you think is fake? Is it the Russian Orthodox Church not allowing blessings on weapons? Saudi Arabia officials not understanding why they're low in the rankings for freedom, for press freedom after murdering a member of the press? Or President Trump not being able to block critics from his Twitter account based on court ruling?
So all of these sound a little ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie.
Come on, don't make me. I will break out the theme music. I will do.
Nothing with involving Trump surprises me, I'll be honest. So that's probably true. The Saudi thing, I feel has to be true. Why wouldn't that make sense? And so I'm gonna go with the Russian Orthodox Church banning. What was it? Banning blessing the weapons? That seems fake to me.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, it is.
Ma'am, you are incorrect.
Oh no.
In fact, I have something horrible I need to tell you. No matter what you would have chosen, you would have been incorrect. These stories are all true.
Oh, that's why it was something like 2 truths and a lie.
yeah, something like 2 truths and a lie. See, now you're starting to get it. So now I know that will never work on you ever again, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and show the people at home the browser window here. All right, according to the the failing New York Times, which this story has been all over the place. It's in multiple different ones. So, it just happens to be this is the one someone linked to me. President Trump had blocked some people on Twitter, and then someone took it to court, and then the court was all like, nuh-uh, you can't do that. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of the story. There's some political slant to it and all that. I'm not going to get into that. But, yeah. So, president is not indeed allowed to block people. End of story.
Although he did, apparently, but he shouldn't have. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Now, the next one. Of course, hey, look. To give benefit of the doubt, no court, apparently, as far as I can tell, as far as my research has shown, no court has ever ruled on that before. So, now at least we have a ruling. So, now we know it's not good. All right.
Yeah.
Next one, from The Guardian. Yeah, this one's real too. So the Freedom Index essentially is intended to showcase what countries have the freest press and the freest populations and blah 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 blah. And Saudi Arabia, some of their officials were like, why are we so low on this list? And this is coming at the heels of Jamal Khashoggi, who allegedly, and I say allegedly because I'd like to not be murdered in my sleep by Saudi officials, allegedly...
Let's avoid that.
I like not being murdered, yeah. So yeah, after that whole thing with that. So yeah. And then going on to the last story... The Russian Orthodox Church indeed is considering a ban on blessing weapons of mass destruction, which apparently is a thing that they have done in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, there's probably a lot to be said there. But the main one I have is, who the heck blesses weapons of mass destruction? Like, what exactly are you trying to do? Like, I would understand if you were like, help me out here.
I kind of get it.
Like, are you,
especially if I really try to wrap my head around like Russia?
what are these blessings supposed to do? Is it supposed to be like, please kill as few people as possible? Please kill as many people as possible? Please kill as few civilians? Like, is it supposed to be like, please kill our enemies? Like, what is this blessing?
Yes. I'll be honest. I'm sure the blessing is like just them wanting their I don't know what word to use to be PC or like not offend anyone, but who they idolize to be on their side with their war, with their destruction that they're carrying on with, right? Obviously. I could see that. And maybe as Americans and separation of church and state, the yada yada yada, we wouldn't relate to this as much. But I don't think that's as much of a thing in Russia. So
like my sort of musing on the subject is, okay, now these weapons, they aren't seen by everyone's as a means of protection and salvation. Right. Some people see them that way. Some people see them as essentially murder machines.
Yeah.
Now, the stark contrast seems to, for me, it leads to something interesting, right? So, Are you praying for protection, or are you praying for death? Or are you praying, are those two things, when you're blessing a weapon, the exact same thing? Is your protection someone else's death?
Yes.
Now, does praying to win a war make you a bad person because of the death toll it would entail to win that war? Like, I don't know. These are not things, I am not looking for answers to these questions, because this is some existential stuff, right? But like, it definitely, like, it gets all of this going in my mind, and that's how I know I would make a horrible general, because I'm asking way too many questions.
Yeah.
Like, there is a reason that I don't have, like, corporal or general or sergeant in front of my name. It's because someone would ask me to do something, and I would ask why, and then I would be shot. Like, that's that would be the end of my military career. That, I am out of stories. Are you out of stories?
I'm out of stories, yes.
So what you're telling me is, we are going out on an existential quandary based on religion and war.
Yes.
Okay, well, that would be an absolutely...
Leave them thinking.
That would be an absolutely wonderful time for me to thank again today's sponsors. We have been sponsored today by 3 entities, one of them being our amazing Patreon over there at patreon.storyvlog.com, which is actually a link you set up. Thank you, Ashley.
Yep.
And there you can check out all kinds of things and whatnots and stuff. We've got stuff from $1, I think, to the top tier, which is $10. And I'll be upfront and honest with you. I pretty much gave everything away to the first couple of tiers, if not the absolute first tier. But right now, I'd like to thank Michael Scheisel, my currently one and only Patreon. And also remind you that Michael is getting all the behind-the-scenes goodies, because pretty much everything that I start to create and then decide, nah, this isn't good enough, goes over there on Patreon. So if you would like to see all the things that I have failed at in the past couple of years, that's a wonderful place to check out. Our second sponsor today was TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy is an amazing browser extension for your browser. Because that's where you put browser extensions. That's how those work, and it allows you to essentially make more of your time on YouTube. If you create YouTube videos or you do things on other social media platforms, TubeBuddy is definitely something you should check out. They've got some amazing stuff that'll allow you to put out. They will email you with some of their tiers. They will email you every time someone uploads a video with certain words. So let's say you're one of those people who makes response videos to people's response videos about Onision drama. And yes, there are those channels. You can just simply put out anything, anytime anyone uploads anything with the word Onision in it, you can get an email and then you will be notified, and you can respond to that with your 45-minute critique on the fact that the person critiquing Onision was then owned by the person who critiqued the guy who critiqued Onision. And if you don't know who Onision is, oh, congratulations, you have not been to the dark side of the internet.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I was about to cut you off and say we need to edit, because why are you even mentioning Onision? That's so toxic.
Because here's the thing, right? The vast majority of people probably don't know who he is, and they are the happiest people.
Yeah.
But don't
look into it.
He's also someone that I bring up because a lot of people make response videos to him, and it's relevant to the example.
Yeah.
And moving on from there, I would like to thank Amazon for being horrible to their workers. I mean, wait, no, for Amazon Prime Day, which this I think is coming. I'm so gonna lose this affiliate link if I keep that up.
Somebody edit.
No, that's not getting edited. That's left in. Because hey, I am nothing if not honest.
This is true.
So thank you so much to Amazon for putting I think at this point, a whole $2 in my pocket this month through purchases made by you and people like you, people using the story vlog link. Very much appreciated. And I would also like to thank Ashley for coming out. You're not a sponsor, but you're working for free, which is kind of like a sponsor.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yay! Okay. Well, with that being the case,
you know what though?
What?
Hold on. I know you said 3 sponsors, but
Uh-oh.
when you asked me if I wanted to play a game, and I mentioned, hey, I'm a gamer, I love that. It did make me think of something.
Okay.
And that is, if any of our listeners / viewers are gamers, that you have a group of friends that you game with, and you have any game server hosting needs, there is a company I'd like to recommend called True Gaming.
Okay.
And in the information / description box below the video, probably. We really need to sort that out, Anthony.
Maybe.
But there will be a link that a very, very close, also gaming girlfriend of mine.
Oh, wait a minute. No, we need to stop there. You have a gaming girlfriend? Does it mean you have a non-gaming girlfriend?
No, I have a gaming girlfriend. We're very close friends, and she does have a link for all of us to use if we have any game server hosting needs, and that will be in the description / information area. So, and it's pretty good deals.
So, what kind of games does this True Gaming place support?
So, okay, I want to say Eco, but you guys probably don't know what Eco is. So Ark, Code and Exiles, Minecraft. I mean, any kind of game that you can put on a server and host it so that all of your friends can play at the same time on a dedicated server that you can trust won't crash and ruin your save files and all that. True Gaming, that's where should go for those needs.
Yep, and as of today, what their pricing is for Outlaws of the Old West, it's $1 per slot. For Minecraft, that's $4.99 per gigabyte. And for those of you outside who don't know or who are outside the Minecraft community, 1 gigabyte will, depending on the mods or the situation for a server, that'll get you anywhere between 15 and 18 players realistically. Some will say 20, but just to play it safe. Conan Exile, that's 66 cents per slot. Ark Survival, that's 87 cents per slot. And DayZ, that's 85 cents per slot. If those prices are lower when you get over there, be sure to let us know in the comment section down below to report price drops.
Yeah.
All right. Now that we've got all that out of the way, Ms. Ashley, you think it's time to wrap up?
It's time to wrap.
All right, I think it's time to wrap up too. Thank you so much for listening. If you've made it this far into the video, please let me know by using the word potato in your comment. Till next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all those things that make both of us absolutely, positively love our jobs. Also, be awesome to yourself and amazing to each other. Bye, guys. So Rum, I started this podcast.
Did you now?
Yeah. I don't know how I'm gonna have guests, man.
Well, you could, maybe go into that lovely little digital Rolodex of yours and pull out some friends.
Friends? I don't have friends.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I just got your PayPal money. I'm your friend. I'll come on your show.
Oh, okay. So you know what? I should buy more people's friendship.
That's exactly what you need to do. Make sure to roll out the red carpet.
Did you just pronounce carpet as if it were a French word?
Yes, sir. You roll out the red carpet for your precious cargo. Tune in next week.